So 9.3 is finding missing sides. When we find missing sides, we have to have at least one side and one angle other than the 90 degrees. So number one, 28 degrees, that's the angle that we are given. That's what we base our H, O, and A off of. So where the 19 is, that is your hypotenuse. The opposite should be over here where X is. And your adjacent is the side that doesn't have anything written by it. So we have to decide, are we using sine, cosine, or tangent? Well, we're not going to use the adjacent side at all because it doesn't have a number and it doesn't have a variable with it. So we're only using the O and the H. So which one is that? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Sine. That's the one that has the O and the H. So we're going to write sine. Instead of putting like theta there like we have been, we're going to put 28. So you always have your trig function, your sine, cosine, or tangent, and your angle is always stuck with it. Like you don't just have sine of nothing. You have the angle goes with it. So sine of theta or sine of 28 equals, and then it's opposite over hypotenuse. So X over 19. So at least until you get the hang of it, what I recommend doing is putting a 1 under sine of 28 and cross multiplying. So X times 1 is X. And then we have sine of 28 times 19. When you have a number times your trig, you need to put the 19 in front. Otherwise, it's really easy to find sine of whatever 28 times 19 is. It's not the same. So always put what you're multiplying by in the front, so you don't have to worry about that. So 19 sine of 28. And you can just type that in your calculator. Oh, make sure your calculator says degree at the top and not radian. If it says radian, you need to click mode. See, it says degree there on mine. You need to click mode and then go down a couple and switch it over to degree. So 19 sine of 28. So here's what happens if you do sine of 28 times 19. Doesn't give you the right answer because it kind of, now if you did sine of 28 close parentheses times 19, then you would get it. But it's very easy to mix that up. So always just get in the habit of putting like the 19 in front. And so anyway, we got 8 point, go 2 decimal, well no, it says 10th. So 8.9 is fine. Any questions on that? Did everybody get the 8.9 in your calculator? Okay. All right, so number 2, you always need to start out by labeling your sides. So H first, that's across from the 90. Your opposite side, that's across from the angle that's labeled. And then the other one is your adjacent. So this time, we're not using the H because there's nothing written on that side. Just the O and the A. And so that's going to be tangent because tangent uses O and A. So tangent of 41 equals x over 32. You won't always multiply these two. If the x is on the bottom, it's a little different. So, and we'll get to some of those examples. So still try to, if you always put it over 1 and you always do it that way, then you won't mess up. So x times 1 is x equals, and then we multiply these two. So 32 tangent 41. And you get 27.8. Now look at your answer and look at the picture. I mean, if this is 32, it makes sense for that to be about 27 or 28. If I got like 400, that wouldn't make sense. If I got like 0.2, that wouldn't make sense. So always just kind of glance over to make sure it doesn't seem outrageous for you to have whatever answer you got. All right, number 3, label your sides. This one, I don't have anything with the O, so I'm using A and H. So that has to be cosine. Cosine of 21 equals x over 26. Put a 1 under there and cross multiply. We get x equals 26 cosine 21. And we get 24.3. Try number 4. All right, so number 4, you should have got 11.4 on that one. Number 5, we label H O A. I'm not going to use the A because I don't have an X or a number there. So O and H is sine. So sine of 33 equals O over H. 15 over X. So now we've got somewhere the X is on the bottom. So still put a 1 under there. So this time when I cross multiply, I get 15 times 1, which is 15 equals. And then I multiply these two. We get x sine of 33. But I still got to get x by itself, so we divide both sides by sine of 33. So if you do 15 divided by sine of 33, we get x equals 27.5. Number 6. So my H across from the 90, my O over here, and the A. I'm not going to use the O. So that leaves me with the A and H, which is cosine. Cosine of 43 equals A over H. So 36 over X. Put it over 1. And then we cross multiply. So 36 times 1 is 36 equals. And then when I multiply those two, we get X cosine of 43. And then we divide both sides by cosine of 43. And we get 49.2. Any questions? All right. Try numbers 7 and 8. So you should have got 8.1 for number 7 and 4.8 for number 8. Now 8 was back to one where you just multiplied them. Any questions on those? All right. Then we get 2 real world problems. Jake leaned a 12-foot ladder against his house. So it helps to kind of sketch out a picture. If here's your house, the wall on your house, and there's your roof. If you lean a ladder, it's going to look like this, right? I'll just put little spikes there so that's the ladder. This is a very common scenario, leaning a ladder, because it makes a right angle or a triangle. If the angle, so here's the ground, here's your grass. So if the angle formed by the ladder and the ground, the ladder and the ground right there, is 68 degrees, and the ladder we know is 12 feet. So that's going to be 12. How far from the base of the house, that just means the bottom of the house, did he place the ladder? So how far from there is this ladder placed on the ground? So what we're finding is that bottom. Now if it said how far up the wall did the ladder reach, then we would have been finding this side. You got to read carefully to figure out what it's asking for. So this would be, there's my right angle. Hopefully your house hits the ground at a right angle. If not, then you're in trouble. So there's the H, the O, and the A. So we're going to be using cosine. So cosine of 68 equals A over H. So X over 12. Put over 1. This is when we're multiplying. X equals 12 cosine of 68. And we have 4.5 feet. And then one more. A ramp is used to load suitcases on an airplane. So here's our ramp. I guess the loading dock for the airplane is right there. If the cargo door is 7 feet from the ground, so here's our door to our airplane. It's 7 feet from the ground, and the angle formed by the end of the ramp and the ground is 25 degrees. How long is the ramp? So this is the actual ramp, so that's what we're finding. So this would be my H and my O. So we are using sine here. So sine of 25 equals O over H. So 7 over X. So if I put my 1 under there, we get 7 equals X sine of 25. But to get X by itself, I need to divide both sides by sine of 25. And you should get 16.6 feet.